Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Kyle Henderson of BamaInsider.com. Today, I'm talking about 10 things to know about Alabama football for the 2020 season. But before we get started, hit the thumbs up button. And remember, super chats are available during this live video premiere. Leading off, number one, Nick Saban returns for his 14th season at Alabama. Saban is 157-23 against the opposition. His bowl record, 12-5. National titles in 2009, 2011, 2012, 2015, and in 2017. Don't forget about that one. He won in 2003 when coaching at LSU. 6 conference titles, 7 division titles, 2 Heisman Trophy winners, 35 All-Americans, and he's also sent 33 players from Alabama to the first round in the NFL draft. Number 2, 9 assistants returned for the 2019 season. Steve Sarkisian will be in his second season, and he'll be earning $2.5 million, which will make him the highest paid assistant coach in the entire country. Alabama defensive coordinator Pete Golding will be in his third season, second as a DC. Special teams and tight end coach Jeff Banks enters his third season. Offensive line coach Kyle Flood enters his second season. Associate head coach and running backs coach Charles Huff enters his second season as well. Associate defensive coordinator and safeties coach Charles Kelly also enters his second season. Outside linebackers coach Sal Sinceri enters his second season, and wide receiver coach Holman Wiggins enters his second season as well. The new additions to the staff in 2020 include defensive line coach Freddie Roach and director of sports performance David Ballou, along with director of sports science Matt Ray. Number 3, Bryce Young, a true freshman, has been repping with the ones from our Nugget report. Completion percentage, remember this, 72.6 as a senior, 4,500 yards passing, 58 touchdowns in 2019 as a senior. The kid is electric. The kid has it, starting to establish himself at Alabama. However, know that Mac Jones is certainly the guy at quarterback that Alabama is going to go forward with their veterans, and it makes total sense. Jones played in 12 games last year, 97 of 141, totaling 1,500 yards with 14 touchdowns and only 3 interceptions. Don't sleep on 6'5", 225-pound Paul Tyson, the great-grandson of Bear Bryant, who is the only pro-style quarterback on the team. Number 4, Alabama returns Najee Harris at running back. Najee Harris ran for 1,200 yards last season with 13 touchdowns and also caught 7 touchdowns, bringing his touchdown total count to 20 during the 2019 season. Career-wise, Harris has played in 42 games and has 2,300 yards with 20 rushing touchdowns. In his final 2 games of the season last year, against Auburn and Michigan, Harris carried the football 51 times for 282 yards and 3 touchdowns. Will Alabama go ground heavy this coming year? That's hard to say with so much firepower, but if they certainly need to, know that Najee Harris is a back they can certainly rely on to carry the load, certainly one of the best running backs returning in all of college football. Moving to number 5, Alabama has an extremely experienced offensive line returning. You look at Alex Leatherwood, 6'6", 310 pounds, 13 games starting in 2019. He's played in 35 games total during his career at Alabama. You have Emil Ekiyor at 6'3", 327 pounds. While he didn't start in 2019, he played in 8 games. He's played in 10 games total at Alabama. At center, Landon Dickerson, 13 starts, 6'6", 310 pounds. His 13 games were his first at Alabama as he was a grad transfer from Florida State. At the right guard position, you got big bad Deontay Brown, 6'4", 338 pounds. A lot of experience coming back. He's played in 35 games total at Alabama. And then at right tackle, you're going to have Evan Neal, 13 starts as a true freshman at the guard position. Looks to make that transition to the tackle position. Everybody knows how athletic he is at 6'7", 360 pounds. In total, Alabama's offensive line averages 6'5", 329 pounds. They have a combined 47 starts and a combined 147 games played. That's a very experienced O-line. Number 6, Dylan Moses returns for his senior season. At 6'3", 235 pounds, inside linebacker Dylan Moses is primed for what should be a monster year. Missed 2019 with the ACL, 86 tackles in 2018. He's a defensive leader, really owns the defense. He projects as a first-round draft pick. When we look at Alabama's starters on defense, at least projected going into this season, you got LeBron Ray, 3 games started last season. You got defensive tackle DJ Dell, 10 games started last year. DJ Dell, only 1 game started. Ben Davis, could this be finally the year that we see him break through? No game started last season. Dylan Moses, obviously no game started as he hurt his ACL. Inside linebacker Christian Harris as a freshman started 12 games. Outside linebacker Chris Allen, 0 games started last season. Patrick Surtain, one of the veterans coming back, 13 games played and 13 games started. Josh Jobe, looks to be a big year for him. 2 games started in 12 games played. At the star position, could it be Jalen Armour Davis? 0 games started last year, 7 games played. At the safety positions, Jordan Battle, 4 games started, 13 games played as a true freshman. And at the other safety position, looks to be Daniel Wright, very experienced, although he did start no games in 2019. Number 7, Alabama might have finally found their kicker. Will Reichert, a sophomore, played in 5 games just last year in 2019 before suffering a hip flexor injury. He was 4 for 7 with the longest field goal of 49 yards in 2019. He was 21-22 on PATs. Alabama also has Joseph Bolivas, who returns. 8 of 11 on field goals in 2019, 59-61 on PATs, played in 26 games throughout his career, 22 of 29 career-wise when kicking field goals, which is an average of 75.8. Alabama enters the season ranked number 2 in the nation. Well, kind of. Remember, Clemson started out the season through the Amway Coaches Poll, number 1 with 38 first-place votes. Ohio State was actually voted 2, but as you know, the Big Ten postponed their season, so Alabama jumps to that number 2 spot. Georgia and LSU are next in line. Alabama plays Georgia once this season, and you got to think about it. Could they potentially play twice if those two teams do meet in the SEC title game? Alabama is also on the road at LSU this year. Number 9. Alabama will have a conference-only schedule in 2020. No, we don't have the complete schedule. We don't know times and dates, but we do know the home and away games for the 2020 season. Auburn, Georgia, Mississippi State, Texas A&M, and Kentucky will be Alabama's home games during the 2020 season. Arkansas, LSU, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Missouri will be Alabama's away game. Now, those records to the right of each team indicates Nick Saban's record against those particular teams. So you see Auburn at the top left, 8-5 against Auburn. Gus Malzahn has beat Nick Saban a few times, as you know. But really outside of Auburn, Nick Saban has been really unbeatable against other SEC teams. 5-1 against Georgia, 7-1 against Texas A&M, 10-4 against LSU, 13-0 against Tennessee. All conference games, remember, in 2020. Number 10, as you know, Alabama is getting new upgrades at Bryant Denny Stadium, and new locker rooms look fantastic. But what I'm really looking forward to is this new tunnel for the Walk of Champions. Think about this. Alabama football players are going to be walking right under Bryant Denny into their brand new state-of-the-art locker room. No place does it like Alabama. Alabama football certainly at the tops of the college football pinnacle when it comes to new stadium upgrades. And those are the 10 things that you should know about Alabama Crimson Tide football in 2020.